We're live.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Episode 101 now. Triple digits. Ben Ryan Chase back at it again. Talk some March Madness. Baseball season started. Great time of year. Some NASCAR updates brought to you by yours truly, Chase, from across the PA pond. How's everyone doing?
Good. Feels like forever since we've been back with all the action that's been happening.
Yeah, I mean March Madness or lack of action, I guess, with that. But baseball, super excited for that. Chase got your Phillies jersey on. I got my Mets jersey on. So
Yeah.
Naturally.
yeah, it's fun. It's a fun time of year because we're getting into NBA playoffs. NHL's winding down.
Yeah.
Got some big golf events coming up with PGA Tour and all those things. So
Yeah, it's
exciting.
wild.
WNBA season's going to start, or no, the WNBA draft is in 13 days, basically like 3 days or less after the Final Four
Yeah.
happened. And then the season starting about a month after that. So
That's unbelievable how quick the turnaround is.
yeah, the
And
draft is in 13 days.
That's insane.
it
And there's
seemed
still
like it was
more games to happen.
yeah. And it felt like it was way more hyped up last year because of Caitlin Clark. Like, it doesn't feel like anyone this year is like has the same amount of attention just drawn at them for
Yeah.
everything.
Well, and Paige Buchers is really good. She's probably most likely going to be the number one overall pick.
Yeah. But I feel like
But,
no one
yeah.
is like, I don't know, just the way everything was about her, especially in the tournament
Yeah.
last year. And then the draft, like, it feels like they're not even really bringing it up as much.
Yeah. It's definitely hyped up less right now.
Yeah.
But
About to get more
Unfortunately,
viewership than one since their
yeah,
championship's like Sunday afternoon and the men's is like Monday night. So
classic. We know
I'm
it's going to be
pretty
some
sure.
one seeds.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we can get into it now. It's our first thing, March Madness. I mean, chalky. It's
Yeah.
chalky.
It is chalky, but I don't know. There's still been a lot of good games. I thought the first weekend was chalky and you didn't have a lot of fun upsets, but a lot of great games, a lot of collapsing going on.
Oh, yeah.
I know Texas Tech had a bad one. Some other schools had a rough finish this weekend.
Yeah, when I left Saturday, Chase, they were cruising. I looked. Texas Tech was like in the driver's seat, and then they just, like you said,
Yeah.
Ryan, collapsed.
Yeah,
No idea what happened.
Nope.
yeah, it's abrupt finishes for certain teams. Kentucky, rough Sweet 16 game. Alabama. I mean, just no one can be competitive with Duke right now. So yeah, you end up with this chalkiness, but it's not like I think Duke for sure the powerhouse. I think Houston's a little surprising. Not everyone thought they'd be a one that got there. Auburn, yes, but they've really had a lot of adversity through the tournament with their injuries, players on and off the court, playing with one arm out there in that
Yeah.
last Elite Eight game. It was wild. And then Florida, I don't want to say they had like the easiest ride, but it didn't seem like a lot of hardcore competition down there. And let's be real with Michigan State too. I mean, I think that was a two that both them and St. John's we weren't high on. So yeah, I mean, you end up with 4-1s. Crazy. This is only the second time I think ever
Yeah.
this has happened, which that doesn't feel real to me, especially with how many people pick all 4-1s to make the Final Four every year. So that part is a little insane. I mean, anyone from ones to twos, I guess you get a lot of that sometimes, or 3-1s or whatever. But I think all four teams, men on the men's side to start, are deserving. I'm still. I just don't know if anyone can be competitive with Duke. It just feels like they're on another level right now. I'm sure that the conversations are starting, Duke versus the Washington Wizards. Like it's
Mm.
crazy. Everyone decides get them in a close game, get them in the close game. They're more vulnerable, and it's like I'm waiting for that to happen.
Yeah. I agree. Especially with Duke. I wonder if this tournament actually their size has been an advantage sometimes. Like even when they've been tired or trying to make it close. I feel like it's hard to grind up against some of those big guys that they have after a certain amount of time. Plus Cooper Flag, he just seems to know how to put a moment on, like just put a dagger in a game. And that's what's been most impressive, especially it feels like it's building as the tournament's going along. But It's gonna be interesting whoever makes it out of Auburn and Florida. I was impressed with Auburn, especially with all the injuries. Their big guy, Broom, he reminded me of Embiid. It just felt like everything he did, he was hyperextending his knee, elbow at the same time, falling,
That
getting
was
hit,
wild.
tripping. Yeah, I was
That's
like, what
funny.
the hell? What is happening to this guy?
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
and to your point with Duke, I mean, they have what I think three of the top 10 like picks right now for the like a mock drafts are on Duke. And like
It's like that Zion, RJ, Cam Reddish
yeah,
year.
and
Yeah.
Cooper Flag, I mean, to me, he plays with a level of IQ for college that's it's definitely, much higher than most players. But also, even though he's getting his buckets, he's not one of those guys that seems like he's just chucking up and like trying to, make the impossible shot. Like
No.
he's willing to
Yeah.
make that extra pass, and
He's not a stat
yeah,
stuffer.
and he's a fun
Yeah.
player. He's a fun player to watch.
Yeah. He's definitely more efficient than
Seems like a
anything
winning,
else.
like a guy who's gonna win games, like for a team, no
Yeah.
matter who he goes to.
Yeah, it's been interesting because it's hard to profile him, and then it's always easy just to make a comparison, but it's hard because he just does a little bit of everything. Like he's really just a new version of what basketball is. Like this is just it. Like I feel like every few years you get to somebody and it's like, well, this is just the updated version. Like
Yeah,
like when we got the I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes by any means, but it's like once Patrick Mahomes style quarterback came, it's like now look how many other people can do somewhat of those skill sets, like Caleb Williams type, like people who are like, oh, I've played every sport, but they have like these intangible traits, and it feels like he's just at that level where it's like we're gonna start to see it now, where there's gonna be a bunch of people where it's like size really doesn't matter anymore in the NBA. It doesn't like anybody can transcend the position, and it's just a skill set. But and he just has that athleticism too, which is impressive. It doesn't feel like he would, but the way he's on the court and everything he does is just impressive.
Yeah, do you guys have a comp for him? I don't off the
No.
top of my head.
Yeah, it's weird to watch him because it's like, what is like what? I don't know what to describe him as. What do you think?
I don't know, like a
He's a pretty unique ball player, which is cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
he's
yeah.
kind of like what Ben Simmons should have been.
I was thinking like a better version of Rudy Gay,
Okay.
Yeah, I
All right.
like that.
I like that.
but I don't really know.
Yeah. Give me
He's
full
something,
energy.
yeah.
They've been riding high. I mean, this has been quite the run for Duke. I mean, I remember. I think when we got to the Sweet 16, there was only 4 conferences left. I think the SEC had 7 of those 16 teams, maybe. But the ACC might not be a powerhouse in college football, but for sure, Duke, one of the main blue bloods out there, and it's I don't know if they're gonna lose. I mean,
I don't think so.
sure the odds aren't in the favor if you were to bet on them to win the
It'll be
national
interesting
championship
because
now.
it'll be interesting to see if Houston can minimize some of Duke's shot making because they're so stout on defense.
What's the line? Does Vegas give Houston a shot at all?
I'm gonna say Duke's still like over 7 or 8, but I don't know. It's a good question. I haven't looked at all.
5.5 on ESPN.
Oh, okay.
So not bad. That's not
No.
I haven't watched.
unrealistic.
Actually, I don't know if I watched one Houston game this season or in the tournament, so I don't.
Yeah.
I can be judging them early.
You got Auburn or Florida 2.5-point favorites.
I think that's a fair one. That's
Yeah. That's a toss up. I would lean Auburn there, but
even with the injuries.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like an Auburn Duke crash course from the beginning is what I kind of felt, but in March Madness anything can happen. And that's why there's chalkiness because
Yeah.
here's the predictions and it's like, okay, well they're not going to come true, but we're one
Yeah.
game away from
I
mean,
definitely I like the Auburn Florida matchup. I feel like that's going to be a more exciting game just because
Yeah.
they're going to use their whole depth. Like I feel like they've shown that this whole tournament where they're just rotating and they have guys and they're working people back in. And Auburn, just because of the injuries, they kind of have to spread it around. So I feel like that's going to make for more craziness of just people like maybe off the bench just getting crazy hot.
Yeah.
And I mean, Clayton has been just ridiculous, like closing out games. His name's Clayton, right? I think it is.
I think so. Yeah.
And so, I mean, what he did at Texas Tech, and he did that even against UConn too. So, no lead safe, and that'll be exciting.
Yeah. Also, this is really random, and I forget because Auburn was rotating 3 big guys in and out that game. I don't know if I forget the guy's name now. It was the tallest one. They had him in late and he got fouled. He went to the free throw line. He's 32% from the
Yeah. Oh
line.
my. He's so bad.
I was freaking out.
Some of Auburn's free throw shots were, I mean, so bad.
I was like, they showed 32%, and I was like, oh, is that for the tournament? And it's like, no, that's for the year. And I'm like, how can you not make 1/3 of your free throws?
It's bad. They have some actual brick hands down there. I mean,
oh yeah, here he is, Dylan Cardwell. Oh my gosh. Like, he was a giant.
There was something else that happened with him. Where like I think he's the one that went to go dunk the ball and he went all front rim, nothing, and then just got rejected and then fell to the ground.
What happened? He was a 31% free throw shooter 2 years ago. Then last year he jumped up to a 58% free throw shooter, and then now he's back down to exactly the same as 2 years ago at 31.8%. Dude has been just playing like 15 minutes of basketball a game for 5 years now.
I mean, you're just guaranteed like 0 chance in the NBA if you can't shoot. I mean, and especially nowadays everyone has to shoot to an extent, but there are college guys that shoot 92, 93, 4% from the free throw line. I did not believe 32%. I don't mean to hate on Caldwell here, but you're just failing your team. I mean, he was in there with like 5 minutes to go because Boomy got hurt, and if I'm Florida going into this game, if he's on the court, I get it. You don't have 6 fouls, so they're a little more. But you got your depth on the floor. You got your 7th or 8th guy out there. I'm just taking a hack foul at some point.
Yeah, I would. That was unbelievable. Like you said, it was just to see a number, especially their rest of their team had pretty high percentages. It seemed like
they played
overall
Florida on February 8th, and Auburn lost 90-81. And he went 1 for 5 from the line.
Oh, might be seeing more of that this time around.
I'm actually going to make a bold statement and say I'm going to say free throw percentage is going to, whoever has the better day at the line is going to win this game on Saturday. I get it, rebounding, second chance.
When you look, here's the 90-81 game, and Florida 83% as a team, 15 for 18. Auburn 14 for 23, 60%.
I mean, I think that's in this type of situation. Like Chase said, Auburn has some 92, 93 percenters on their team, but depending on the series, I mean, that's ridiculous.
It's nuts. And I saw Florida go streaky a few times at the free throws during this tournament, so it's always possible when it comes down to it. Like, if you have a bad first quarter or you start off the second half slow, I mean, it could be the end of you, and not for any other reason other than you're just gonna run out of time. Like, I think if Michigan State had a third quarter, they might have come back in that game.
Yeah, and Auburn's definitely beatable. I mean, before the tournament, they went 1-4 in their last 4 games before the tournament. They lost to Texas A&M, Alabama, Tennessee. So it's not like Auburn. I mean, they definitely can be beat. So
yeah, excited for sure.
Yeah. All right, so shall we move on to some baseball?
Yeah,
I'm watching the Mets lose. Started. How we feeling? First weekend, we got some news. We got some weird bats. Got some random things happening in the league.
I want to hear it. Break it down. What's the biggest news so far?
Biggest news are probably the torpedo bats is number one. Ryan, have you heard about the?
No. Give me an insight.
So they basically, I think it goes that the Yankees hired MIT. What is he? Not a physicist, but something some engineer basically from MIT. And I think he works for the Marlins now, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Bless you. Bless you.
So, Chase might have to finish the story.
Run with it, Chase.
Yeah, so there's this guy, the MIT engineer dude, who figured out if you rework the bat and just change the shape of it, make it like a torpedo almost, that it helps some of the batters because of where the ball placement is when they swing. That's basically all this guy was trying to do, was just figure out where everyone's hitting it on the bat and making it better, which makes sense because we've watched Alec Boehm for a few years now, and it seems like he always makes contact, but it's always on a bizarre part of the bat.
Yeah.
Like he can't ever just get it right in the middle. When he does, he destroys the ball, but it just depends. So seems to be that this is going to be the new trend, and obviously it doesn't seem like baseball cares about it. They shouldn't, obviously, if it's going to lead to more exciting games and teams just going to be exposed. Hopefully they're not messing with the balls, and it's not because of both things. Hopefully it's just a thing where hey, they figured out something offensively, and the pitchers are going to have to react and figure out. Obviously, there's going to be more emphasis on ball placement and maybe still on velocity, but I don't know. I think overall it's good, especially to start the season, because usually games early this year, especially on the Northeast, can be super slow. It's freezing out sometimes. It's just not ideal conditions for baseball, and especially for the ball to fly. So any way that the batters can do it, not using performance enhancing things that go into their body, I don't think is a problem. But I don't know. What do you guys feel about it?
Yeah, so I'm good now. Sorry, my opinion, I'm okay with the bats as long as it's something that every team's about to can have access to and have relative access to. They're basically adding more.
How did it come out? Did someone just notice
Someone
it?
basically created it. They're basically added more wood to the barrel part and then took a little bit of wood from the very end of the bat. So we're going to show you right now.
So
we have a full bat.
Yeah.
So
It almost reminds me.
legal stance of weight of the bat and how big it is it all
Yeah.
the same.
And I think the other emphasis was that they used a lighter wood and put more on, like you said, and it's having a better effect.
So we got a full a normal bat right here.
Nice little
And they-
Louisville Slugger.
Yeah, signed by Mark Grace, random player, but anyway. So they basically took say from here over on the bat, took some wood off so it's thinner, and then put that wood here. So this part's thicker, and then it gets a little thinner over here.
Like a torpedo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like they cartoon smashed it and it popped up.
And there are, but they basically this came out because the Yankees bashed. What was it 18? Was it? It was with some
It
ridiculous.
was against Nestor Cortez, and yeah, they went for 20 runs, I think, and 16.
They had 9 home runs in the first 5
Yeah.
innings.
Yeah, they had 3
Something.
home runs to start. Those Nestor's first 3 pitches were home runs, and then it just basically went south from there. It was
And
basically, just playing the MLB The Show and using the hack to just hit a home run every time.
Yeah, over the course of the series, they had almost 20 home runs over the course of the first series.
Unbelievable.
Gosh. Yeah. I mean, this is, I haven't dove into baseball yet. This is pretty new for me. I appreciate you breaking that down with the bat. My 2 things are, one, just it always feels like it has to be something with baseball, some type of politics involved in baseball, right and wrong changes. My second point, but I'm okay with the torpedo bat. Second point is kind of to Chase's point. The last 5 years, the MLB is we want the game shorter, we want the game shorter, we want the game shorter, shrink the games, lessen the time. But then more runs is the one thing that will cause games to be extended. So what does the MLB want? In majority of sports in today's game, besides soccer, I would say more scoring is better. But in the MLB's sake and their biggest push to shrink games, what I'm trying to just try to gauge what the league wants. Because I feel like you can't have both. You can't have 10-7 games every night. They're not going to be an hour and 55 minutes like that 1-0 Nats Mets game Ben went to last year. And I know they don't have to be all that short. I'm sure the goal is probably like, NBA, NHL range, 2.5 hours or so, less than football. I just don't know what the MLB wants.
Runs sell, and I mean when people are mashing home runs, that's what people like. So
Yeah, especially early in the year, they need to get people hooked right away if they're gonna make an impact. It it seems like. I don't think they really cultivate it, but I think it happens naturally or unnaturally sometimes. Like we always hear about them messing with the balls or tampering in some sort of way to make more offense or make more pitching. And I don't know. I feel like it's time that the players take it back in their own hands and do this because it isn't anything against the shape of the bat. That doesn't even seem like it would be a crazy proposition to have to change it and make it better. It happens in every sport. It seems like that it just is going to evolve to be something better than what it originally was. But I
yeah,
don't. I feel like baseball should just not intervene right now. Just let this thing play out because right now people are talking about it, and that's what's going to be the best thing for baseball is people talking about it in any shape. Um, Last year at this time, we were literally talking about see-through pants.
yeah,
So that was
forgot
pretty
about
bad, pretty
yeah. At
bad
least
start to the year.
they fixed all that this year and got the jerseys and the numbers back to where they should be. But yeah,
Yeah, and it seems normal, like they're professional athletes that are getting paid an obscene amount of money.
yeah,
Just keeping it the way we want it. Yeah, but definitely, I feel like this is a good time for baseball just to be like, whoever's in the league office sent Rob Manfred on a 2-week trip to Costa Rica so he can't mess this up and meddle in it somehow. It's like, we'll figure this out. It'll work itself out.
yeah.
And it's for the best right now because if people are going to do it, then I don't know. What better time than right now? I feel like the standard is the NFL, and you always have to compare it to the NFL. And what would they do? Like, what would they do if everyone was scoring 50 points in week one? Like, I feel like they'd be all right with that. They'd be like, great, they're in mid-season form week one. Like, this is great for us. Everyone's going to be losing their mind about it, how they want to just talk about everything and aspect of it. So for baseball, this is great. Um, and it does suck. It does seem like there's a lot of injuries that are happening and just little dingy things. But I'm always wondering if it's the phantom IL coming into play here for some guys. Like, just have a little bit of expanded roster and get guys up. And
Could be.
The Phantom IL, so not
yeah,
true injuries.
a little bit. Like maybe they do, but it's not something where they necessarily need to be placed anywhere. And maybe it's just because they're realizing that they can get more analytics out of it. So maybe it's just maybe if you put up a pie chart, it all splits up differently. And it's not just one motivating factor, but it does seem like there's a lot of people dinged up right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Baseball World Classic didn't just happen. It wasn't.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
luckily, it doesn't seem like they're all serious injuries. It's not like guys who've gone out opening day and had Tommy John, Tommy John, Tommy John down the list.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
but it's curious. I always just wonder what with everything that's happening, it's like, hey, I would if there's really no penalties, it seems like it always comes up with baseball of are they taking advantage of the injury slots, but
Could be.
maybe.
Yeah.
But hey,
What
we're
else?
here talking about it, and I feel like that's great as baseball fans. That's what we need. We need more of this, not less of see-through pants talk.
Exactly. No, I think well, the other biggest surprise for me, just looking at, and I'm not going to get ahead of myself with the standings.
No, get ahead of
But
yourself.
Braves 0-5.
Yeah,
Gotta
love to
like
see
that.
it.
Mets and Phillies, and I mean Mets are 2-2, Phillies are 3-1. I'm not putting too much emphasis on these first couple games, but 0-5. You never like to see that as a team. Mets started off last year in a really similar spot. I think they
Yeah.
actually started off 0-6 last year. And it's just really hard sometimes. I know it's a long season, but to start off
Yeah.
that way, it's kind of tough to bounce back. They're 0-5. The Brewers are 0-4 right now and got destroyed by the Yankees the run differential is like already minus 35, which after 4 games is insane.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's hard to string off wins. It's hard to win in baseball, especially with schedules and games and the different dynamics of the season. 0-5 is not. I mean, I'm nervous as a Braves fan right now.
Are you a Braves fan?
If I was a
Oh,
Braves
you're a
fan,
Braves fan.
yeah.
if yes, I will. I would become a Mets fan before I become a Braves fan. So,
Oh, okay.
I might become a Nats fan before I become a fan of either of those two.
okay, I did. Yeah,
I'm going Marlins.
Marlins are also a safe pick.
I'm already kind of a fan of the Marlins. So,
Until they become good like 10 years from now, then you might not be like them.
We just have to survive them becoming good for like a season and a half.
That's
It's
true.
when they get like all their talent grown and then they realize they don't know what to do with it, so they have to trade it all off.
we need to do a deep dive at some point on their return for Yelich, Stanton. Who was the other one? There was other guys like
Arias, or no?
Oh, Reyes, yeah.
I mean, they did. Yeah.
Even other guys they traded away that were good at the time, like Martin Prado, I think was
Cabrera, didn't they trade him away? Or is he a free agent? Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, they traded him too. Yeah, I mean some of their trades, and they've
Yeah,
gotten like
that'd be a good
nothing-
one-off episode just to dive into
nothing
that.
back. Them and the Mookie Betts trade, if you look at that, that was, I mean, they got nobody. Nobody.
Yeah.
came out. And they traded away Mookie freaking Betts. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's like way before his prime.
yeah.
Oh. Well, hey, 4 months till the deadline, so buckle up.
We'll see some action.
Yeah. So, all right. Do you want to, if anyone else have anything with baseball? If not, we just end with some NASCAR.
My only other thing is a lot of times, people ask me every year, being such a Sixers fan that I am, like, when do you start getting into baseball? Usually, majority of the time it's April, May, June, summertime basketball ends. Weather's nice. You want to put on a nice Sunday 1 p.m. game, watch some Phils. Yeah, it's going to be pretty direct for me, considering I'm just tired of watching the Sixers try to lose. So finish out March Madness this weekend. Probably enjoy that. And then, yeah, going to jump right into it. We're about a week into the MLB season. And
Got fantasy going.
yeah, I haven't downloaded the app back yet. But last year I went like 2 weeks. So I'm ahead of that game. So
You're actually the only one that hasn't made a move yet, I saw.
okay. All right. Competitive league.
Hanging in there. You like your
Gotta do it.
drafted team.
There's got to be someone. No. Every league has someone that rides the whole year with like one move. Maybe that'll be my year. Maybe that'll be the way I win.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
You never know.
So, yeah, no, it's great. It's exciting that it's back. It's a whole vibe. Fall time football, cooler weather, sweaters, however you like to enjoy fall. Everyone puts football to the season. I think the same for baseball. Starting to get some 60, 70-degree weather up here in the Northeast. Sun's starting to stay out later. It's cool just having baseball in the background when you're at home, like coming in still, eating dinner and stuff like that. So,
Set in the mood. I like it.
yeah, send the mood. It's a good time of year. Let's
Yeah.
enjoy it. And
I
while
love
every
it.
team is still statistically in,
That's
enjoy
true.
it. There's 30 teams.
Sure, you got the White Sox, who four starters in a row that gave up no runs.
Yeah.
They're in it.
Hey, QS, it's
Yeah.
a big spot now these days. You get your quality starts, you have a chance to win a ball game, and maybe the White Sox
Yep.
found it.
And what are they doing? They're winning 1-0 again. Starter still hasn't given up a run.
Yeah. So
Look
I
at
like-
that.
All right, and Chase, and with some NASCAR update. We haven't talked NASCAR in a week or two.
Yeah. It's been a
weeks.
while. It's been a while since we've done a little NASCAR roundup. I feel like I might as well just go back a few weeks just to really set the picture here. So I think the last time we touched, Christopher Bell won. He ended up
Yeah.
rattling off 2 more for 3 straight.
Oh,
Seemed like he was in a position to just win out the rest of the year. I mean, his car was dominant. He was literally just putting himself in a position in qualifying, doing it Formula One style. He literally gets position 1, wins it from there. But nonetheless, car troubles happen, of course, with NASCAR, and his streak came to an end. Josh Berry came in, got the win for Wood Brothers Racing. It's pretty impressive. And it's
Who?
important. Josh Berry, and this is it's a big moment, I would say, for this for this team in NASCAR because they're a legacy team. They only run one driver. Josh Berry has had some troubles in the past. He literally was with Stuart Haas, lost his ride when they closed up, and was going to be a free agent and could be without a ride. So the fact he ended up with the team was good, and especially this one where they put a lot of emphasis and they have an alliance where with Team Penske where they can kind of develop guys. So he's in a really good position from where he was. And like the turnaround of being in a spot where he gets a ride 1 year with them, loses it, and then is back on the street potentially, and then gets in here, gets a win on the season, and locks himself into the playoffs is a really good thing. Good turnaround. And as a fan of Wood Brothers going up, it was cool to see the 21 back in victory lane. 2 times in 2 years. Last year they won with Harrison Burton. Obviously, they gave him the boot at the end of the year, but he won the Daytona 500. So he lost his ride, but he went out with a middle finger and a Daytona 500 win. So not too bad for him. Um, then we went to Homestead, Miami 2 weeks ago. Kyle Larson dominates there. Was going to win the Xfinity race. He got a bump up late on the restart. 1 lap to go. He lost it, but he otherwise would have swept that weekend. He won the truck race too. So Homestead, Miami is basically Kyle Larson's. If you're going to bet anyone else, you're a crazy person, unless you think he's going to crash. This past weekend, we went to Martinsville, and we're getting into the meat of the schedule. This is really where all the
Already.
exciting things going to happen. Yeah, we have the All-Star
gonna
race
pop.
coming up. It literally just started, and the All-Star race happens. It makes no sense. I don't know why NASCAR does this. We go in basically till November, and the All-Star race is in May. So don't know what that's about.
Wild. Hold on. There's
Yeah,
some
May
other sports.
18th is the NASCAR All-Star Open, and the
How
All-Star
do you
race
even
is.
know who's an all-star?
And so it goes by the people who won last year.
Okay. All right, that's
Yeah.
that's
Okay, so
fair.
it's not based on like 4 races.
Yeah.
No.
Which I don't mind that because sometimes baseball is a prime example of guys heat up
Yeah.
after the All-Star. It's a
Yeah.
whole thing. It's literally a whole thing.
Yep. Like
Yeah, guys who
Lindor,
heat up, get the
3 years-
All-Star, and then drop off.
Lindor's been
Yes.
a top 10 MVP candidate 3 years in a row and has never been an All-Star
Yeah.
in either
it's
year.
just-
He was
I mean,
second in the MVP.
That's
last year,
unbelievable.
All-Star.
So yeah, I give them credit. I don't mind that setup, honestly.
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely unconventional compared to the other leagues. They do it a little differently, but yeah, this past weekend at Martinsville, Virginia, you have to think Denny Hamlin. He's the Virginia boy, so anytime they race there, you got to give him the odds, and he came out strong. First time he's won at Martinsville since 2015, so it's been a long time coming. He needed another clock, which is the prize at the end of the race. You win a grandfather clock, all custom, as your
Oh.
trophy. So he got
Oh.
that locked down. Yeah, it's nice. It's pretty cool.
It's cool.
What if you're like, I don't have
yeah.
room for that?
I don't know.
Auction it off to charity.
I really just love the thought of after the race, you're just standing there with a 6-foot tall grandfather clock, and you're like, all right, so somebody gonna
Hopefully-
pick this thing up, or what the
Hopefully NASCAR helps you make arrangements, like get it to your house.
Oh,
or-
yeah.
I think they do. I think they
They're
ship
like,
it
all right,
there,
see ya,
but
you're on your own.
it would be great if they're just like, all right, see ya. So enjoy this clock. All right.
Yep.
It's literally taller than most of the guys who drive, which
Probably
is
needs like a
also
whole
crazy.
crew to carry it.
Yeah, or you just like throw it on top of the car and you're like holding it with one hand out the roof like it's a Christmas tree on your way back. That would be intense. But yeah, so that was Martinsville. Pretty good race. We're moving into Darlington, another short track, another place where rage is going to overtake a lot of people, and expect a lot of mechanical failures because they're going to drive the cars unbelievably here. I don't have a pick for this race. It's really been wide open this year. We've had a lot of different winners outside of Christopher Bell. It's been pretty wide open. I would say a lot of strong people. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of mechanical failure, so there's been strong cars throughout the weekend, and then just fail at some point at Sunday. So other than that, I have to say Kyle Larson is probably going to be one of the favorites here just because of his dominance, and he's just going to be on one of those years. And same with Christopher Bell. They're hot right now. They're doing everything that they can to put themselves in a good position. But also, I gotta say, Bubba Wallace finished top 5 at this race. Finished,
It's having a
Yeah.
good year.
yeah, and Christopher Bell, and it wasn't all for naught at this race. There was a lot of people who are still bolstering their positions, and Bubba Wallace is definitely one of those guys. I think he had a crew chief change over the year over the offseason. I think that's been able to put him in a better position where he starts off really strong. So the fact that they're not trying to gamble late for the late race adjustments, they're just taking advantage of, hey, you're qualifying really good. We got to get these stage point wins and count them in because it's going to be racking up points that no one else is getting right now, other than Christopher Bell, who won 3 races. It's like Bubba Wallace just seems to put himself up there and get those stage wins and finish enough to get him really valuable points. So, yeah, we'll see. It's definitely a long season. He could also put himself in a bad position, but so far he's just been able to finish races strong and also put just get a lot of points in doing so.
Yeah.
It means a lot to get the stage wins. I don't really care about that. I just want to win the race, but if you're going to be analytics in NASCAR, it's probably more valuable to get the stage wins if you can't get the win overall. And he's been able to do that. So,
So it's April 1st. Christopher Bell's already clinched a playoff berth, and the All-Star race is in a month.
yeah,
Wild
pretty
sport.
crazy. And I mean, he's already halfway to his win last year. I think he had 6 wins last year,
Crazy.
and he's already at 3. So I think he had
Yeah.
6, and then had 7. But yeah, it's
Hey, the
like,
more wins he racks up, it's gonna be. I remember last year, basically everyone who made the playoffs had a win. But yeah,
yeah.
you get a couple top heavy racers, and it makes it a lot more interesting too for the season. So, Now, Matt, was Bell? Did you ride with him again this year for your pick?
No, I didn't. I got cold feet because literally everyone was picking him in the preseason and the Clash and stuff like that, and it got to me, and I picked Chase Elliott just because he's a former champ. I feel like he's at a position where um I don't know. I feel like he's been too quiet and he's too good of a
Yeah.
racer. As on too good of a team. He's with Hendrick. They win all the time, and he got a win last year, but he's also a guy that can just do it. And he finished top 5 this weekend. He was 4th, so he's starting to come on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Chase, I like it. Look for Larson, maybe top 3, something like that. Bell top 5. If you're making
Yeah,
the
and
NASCAR.
Chase Elliott too. I gotta put him in there. He's my guy. I haven't been hyping him up because we haven't been there, but he's my guy I picked for the year. So if I'm gonna pick anyone for the weekend, I gotta be picking him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I went from not having to pick it all to talking myself into picking the guy I picked to win the championship. So yeah, we got to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Get one of those like horse race bets when you pick the exact like top 3 finish going.
Yeah.
Elliott,
The
Larson,
trifecta or
Bell.
whatever.
So cool. No, appreciate it, Chase. I think this was a really good show.
Yeah.
Probably wrap it up there. Exciting week of March Madness. We didn't even touch women's. Obviously, catch those games too. I think they play Friday is their Final Four, and then on Sunday is the championship, and then men's Saturday and Monday. So another fun weekend of basketball. Catch some baseball, especially with those torpedo backs. Seems like the pop's coming early. So no, another great week. Episode 101. Ben, Ryan, Chase. See you next Tuesday.
Peace.
See ya.
So that